Okay. Okay, Liz.
Starting today, we were announcing that Felker Ward Jr. book, Determined, will be available in our Hudson News stores here in Atlanta Airport.
First and foremost, I'm very proud of my father. Very proud of his book, Determined. And as my niece, Marissa, says, that book is a page turner. But I thought to myself while we were putting this together, I said, why would somebody read this book who doesn't know Felker Ward? And I determined the following. If you wanted to know what it was like growing up in a segregated yet progressive Atlanta in the 30s and 40s, if you wanted to know what it was like to have a dad that was a Tuskegee Airman mechanic in World War II, if you wanted to know what it was like to become the first person in your family to go to college, if you wanted to know what it was like to join the Army as a minority officer and graduate flight school #1 out of 68, the only black student, yet your commanders told you not to even apply. If you wanted to know what it was like to serve in Vietnam for our country as a helicopter pilot and become decorated for that service. If you wanted to know what it was like to go to law school at night while still serving in the Army and become one of this city's and this state's top lawyers. If you wanted to know what it was like to be on speed dial by several mayors and governors as a peacemaker and a bridge builder. If you wanted to know what it was like to be co-counsel during the Atlanta police cheating scandal or be appointed by the mayor to calm tensions in a racially divided Forsyth County. If you wanted to know what it was like to break barriers of entry for minorities in segregated clubs in Atlanta, like the Capital City Club and the Piedmont Driving Club, and to help start AMAC for all the ACDBEs out here. If you wanted to know what it was like to start and grow one of the largest minority airport concessions firms in the country, Concessions International. If you wanted to know what it was like to be a hunter and a fisherman. If you wanted to know what it was like to be confronted by a water moccasin and to have to make some immediate decisions that impacted the rest of your life. And to do all of that while being a loving and caring father of 4. If any of that interests you at all, then you need to read this book, Determined.
You wonder how the South got integrated, why we're different from most cities. It's because I've never been to their home when everybody was one color. I've never been anywhere with Felker in business or on a pleasure trip when he did not include all of his friends, people from his military associations, and lawyers from Wall Street. All of this was built with tax-exempt municipal bonds. Now, most cities don't work that way. But I found out just the other day that one city that did work this way and that's still working is San Francisco. And I just found out from Time magazine this week, which you could buy in their bookstore, that the San Francisco Bay Bridge was built with tax-exempt municipal bonds with a deal that was structured to pay for itself. And that's what the key to this airport is. It not only pays for itself and pays off all of the bonds that Wall Street loans us, but it generates an economic impact of about $50 billion every year, and there are more than 1 million jobs that come from this.
We're all very proud of my dad, but he's been a lot of different things to a lot of different people. He's been a lot to me. He's been, gosh, my dad. He's been my colleague. He's been my confidant. He's been my mentor. He's been my client. And he's been, in some ways, my business partner. He happened to be a bond lawyer. I happen to be a bond lawyer. But he taught me so much more, not just about the law and about being a bond lawyer and about working inside a firm, but really about life. The most important role he's played in my life, frankly, is as a friend. He's been there, and not just because he thought he had to, because that's just who he is. One more piece of advice, I guess, for you. You may look at me and look at him and see a slight resemblance if you squint your eyes and tilt your head. So for those of you who can't tell the difference, I'll help you differentiate. Okay. One of us is on the cover of a book, the other one isn't. You can compare our relative assets and the difference will jump out at you. Okay? If you ask the wrong one of us to sign the book after this is over, okay, one of us will not charge you. Okay? For the other one, there's a fee.
I want to say a word about these pictures you see up here. This picture right here is our class in flight school. Look very closely. The front row is all the teachers, and the next two rows were the students. But there's something very, very unique about this. I'm the only African American in that picture in any of those roles. And to make sure that you know that this is authentic, this picture over here is the certificate that came off that said, "Congratulations for being number one in a class of 68." So it's very, very much the case. Enough. I wish I had the time. I could tell you we had a lot of important people here. We got a retired.
Your wife. Thank your wife. Thank your wife, Mary.
She's over in the corner.
Just thank your wife, Mary.
Oh yeah, yeah. They were. Yes, I got it. I'm going to say a word about my wife here. In the book, you will find somewhere in there a passage that says that she was the one who approved my borrowing against our home that we lived in to invest in this concession company that nobody knew for sure if it was going to work or not. But my wife agreed to it, and sure enough, it came out all right. Would you like to say some words, my dear?
Thank you all for being here. And I thank the Lord for 60 years of being with Felker and having a life that I have truly enjoyed. Thanks. Oh, wait a minute. I sure am glad that my kitchen and my dining room are now cleaned up. Bye.
You got to open it back up. Okay. All right.
BILC. BILC was held in the Harmony Church area of the base. I had spent the summer between my juniors.
An economic impact of about $50 billion every year, and there are more than 1 million